back to Snetterton. Here's the lowdown on the grid for race number 3. Harry Gooding and Jamie Going on pole. Danny Harrison, Ryan Falconbridge on row 2. Then Tom Hutchins and David Nye, followed by Richard Ashmole and Miles Baker. Jake Dawson and Robert Stevens, then Richard Dawson. Jamie White heading Class D once again after 2 wins. Zachary Lucas second from Tim Bennett and Marco Ricci. Luke Bannister and John Cooper completing the grid. John sadly non-finisher in race number 2. So by my counts, Jamie White just 3 points behind Tim Bennett now in overall non-discounted championship points. The lights are on and out go the lights. Watch for the outside. Might be an advantage on the outside line if it's more rubber down. We've seen some super starts from the outside line. John Cooper looking to go well. Jamie Going gets an absolute flyer. Ryan Falconbridge has come up into second place in black and blue, eclipsing Harry Gooding. The pole position man is in third, and I don't think that was a bad start by Harry, but the outside tends to have been the favoured starting position. We saw it in race 1, we've seen it again a little bit in race 2, and now definitely in race 3 as we ride on board with Robert Stevens, who was penalised in race 2 for track limits, and there's contact up ahead of him. Through on the inside line goes Zachary Lucas in red, but I think Robert's going to hang on to a position. He's got one of that man who finished second in Class D in race number 2 to his outside and having to work hard, but it's Jamie Going here. Scott called it well, didn't he, about who's going to break the deadlock and take the... This is the decider, isn't it, between Jamie Going and Harry Gooding, and of course there are many other drivers that are capable of taking the win, but thus far one apiece for them. They do look like the drivers that have dominated the racing in Class C. Danny Harrison still in with a shout as well. Miles Baker up ahead of Jake Dawson, and then Jamie White, you've got to say, with John Cooper further back this time, afforded a clear run maybe to a victory. I know the others are going to challenge, and I mean no disservice to those guys at all, but look at White. He's got a really good, decent lead in Class D. We'll see what John Cooper can do. That had that knock on the car in race number 2, that might carry through into this race. But it's Jamie Going, the race leader, Going up front. Ryan Falconbridge second, Harry Gooding in third place. Miles Baker up ahead of Richard Dawson, and then Jake Dawson in the 54. And Miles Baker is off and becomes our first retiree. That is such a shame for Baker, who goes off on the grass. Plenty of runoff there, and Baker is out of the race. A massive shame for 99 Miles Baker, his second retirement of the year. Retired from race 3 at Rockingham as well. So 2 of his drop scores pretty much decided, as across the line goes the race leader. And you see Matt actually having to lift the boards there. If you've never been to Snetterton, I would urge you to have a look at the racing from the pit wall, because you get so close. None of those big fences that you get at the other tracks, and if you're doing pit boarding, you very often do have to pull it back in slightly because you're that close. It's almost scary. It's a terrific buzz being on the pit wall there because you're so close to the action. Tom Hutchins engaged in battle here with Richard Ashmole, trying to get through. Ashmole at the moment holding sway, coming down into Palmer, moves over to the right hand side for the apex on the left, which he grabs again. The driver's being very careful about the track limit scenario. Just the one driver penalised so far over 42 minutes of racing, which is exceptional. There's the battle we were looking at, Ashmole and behind Ashmole at the moment it's Tom Hutchins, further back than we're used to seeing him, so drivers are going to have a little bit of a sort out. Jamie Going has disappeared down the road, isn't he? There's Harry Gooding. Ryan Falconbridge next up. Danny Harrison further back than he would like to be. He was talking about another podium, having had 2. But good to see Harrison back on podium form after Brands. There is Jamie Going. So it's Harry Gooding now up into second place. So that's our podium clarified. David Nye looking a little bit sharper here in the white car with the red house logo on the side. Up ahead of the other DW Nye liveried car, the Union flag livery of Tom Hutchins, but the race leader clear, very well clear at the moment, Jamie Going. 2 fastest laps for him so far as well over the course. Remember, 50 points for the race win, further 2 added for fastest lap. So if you win and get fastest lap, it's 52 points, 50 points without the fastest lap, 46 points for second. So winning is pretty much a premium here. And Jamie Going looking to try and stretch his legs. Watch for the flash of white. There it is. Harry Gooding in second. Ryan Falconbridge third. Then Danny Harrison followed by David Nye. Ryan Falconbridge looking to get back onto the podium after 2 podia at Rockingham. And it is a confidence thing, motor racing. A sports psychologist once told me that it was 80% confidence. I'm sure that engineers probably disagree with that to some point, but if you've got the machinery and you've got the knowledge that you could do it, it is surely going to help you. Hutchins and Nye close together. David Nye, I think, in front of the other DW Nye car for the first time in this meeting. Good time to do it. We're next racing at Castle Combe on the 12th of August in the West Country. That lovely circuit, very well worth a visit that weekend if you can join us. After that we go to Thruxton on the 2nd of September. I think a first visit. I definitely don't have Thruxton results in the database for this championship, which goes back, my personal database goes back a little while, so absolutely thrilled that we're going to be seeing the BRSCC Fiesta Championship at Thruxton, which of course is having a double visit of the British touring cars next year. And that, if you're in this championship, if you're a young driver, that's effectively where you're going to aspire to, maybe moving on into Clio Cup, as we've seen so many drivers do. Tom Hutchins is still working, the Daniels Motorsport prepared car, chasing his Daniels teammate David Nye. Nye defending champion. And at the moment, after a disappointing start to the year, on total points, struggling to get up into the top 6. But he has finished all the races bar the first 2 this year, including 2 wins and 1 other podium. Had a bad result at Rockingham as well, so his drop scores will be 16th at Rockingham race 1 and the 2 retirements at Brands. And pretty much mirroring what happened for David last year. But remember, he came through at the last round of the year to take the Class C Championship, and he's putting massive pressure on Danny Harrison there. Harrison in the red topped car. Harrison not that close at the minute to Ryan Falconbridge, so having to be a little bit defensive. Falconbridge in 3rd place, losing touch at the moment with Harry Gooding, who is in 2nd place. Gooding will again do his championship chances no harm at all. Gooding, by my maths, 50 points clear on total scores of Jamie Going, which is effectively 2 races. And then Danny Harrison 3rd from Ryan Falconbridge and Miles Baker. Drop score scenario slightly different. Hopefully we'll be able to update you on that before the end of the programme. But confident that Gooding will go away with the, well, he will go away with the championship lead on total points, because as I said, he's 2 races clear. And talking of championship points, Class D, when we see it, because Class D has 6 starters this weekend, they are on full championship points as opposed to the slightly smaller scores which you get if there are less than 6 starters, where there are 38 points for the class win. So David Nye coming under pressure here from Tom Hutchins. Always good to give you a little bit of background information in terms of championship points and regulations, so that you know what's happening. What's happening on track is that Jamie Going is clear again, looking to repeat his win in race number 1. Harry Gooding in 2nd, and then Ryan Falconbridge 3rd. It's a gaggle for 3rd, but Falconbridge with a bit of breathing space at the minute over Danny Harrison. Harrison's got his mirrors full very much of the multi-champion David Nye, who is trying everything he can to go through. Nye with the, well, they're both white and red cars. Nye's is predominantly white with the red trim and the red logo. And remember, David Nye, the Class A champion back in 2009, won the Class D championship in 2015, and then the Class C STs last year. So it says a great deal about the championship that we've got 3 of last year's champions, 3 of last year's 4 champions back with us this year. The only missing is Derek Robinson in Class B. We haven't had any Class B runners this year. Tim Bennett was Class A champion last year and moved up into Class D. And having a go now is Tom Hutchins, who looks at the inside line of David Nye. A little bit of respite here for Danny Harrison, and Nye cedes the place. And it's Tom Hutchins that goes through. Nice move there, decent momentum down the straight, so he's going to have a go at Danny Harrison, see if he can get past previous champions. If you look down the list, one that pops up the most I think is David Abbott, who we haven't seen for a couple of years. He's a great shape, terrific driver, David Abbott. Always a joy to watch him racing. But Class C, initially won by Daniel Rose in 2007, then Ben Roper in 2008, David Elsley, who's been in and out with us a few years. David Abbott was, of course, the Class D inaugural champion, followed by Ed Cocker, who had also won Class A back in 2010. Harry Cocker winning Class B that year. So a great history for this championship as we watch Hutchins trying to close down at the moment on Danny Harrison. There is Richard Ashmole getting involved as well on the inside line. So Ashmole effects the pass there on David Nye, who's trying to hang on to the outside line, which converts to the inside at Palmer, but Ashmole's done it. Good move by Ashmole. David Nye gets bumped down. Not easy for the defending champion this year. Jamie Going, P2 in the championship, leading. Harry Gooding, former junior champion, there in second place. Ryan Falconbridge still in third. Then Danny Harrison at the moment running in fourth place, up ahead of Tom Hutchinson. So Tom Hutchins, who's on for 36 points, Harrison on for 38 at the moment, holding the upper hand around about half distance. And again, I reckon to 9 laps, barring any problems. Richard Ashmole pulling clear now of David Nye, the Horsham-based driver giving chase. At good early laps from David Nye. And I think still pretty much on for, I'll just say, a reasonable finish. Finished 6th in race 2, which was better than 8th in race number 1. So David not looking as sharp as we've seen him before. Jamie Going turns into Brundle, still in the lead. Gooding in second. We look back along the straight and you can see the green car of Jamie White not being challenged for the Class D lead, and we'll have a look at him in a few moments and see how his campaign is doing to try and get on top of the points. I reckon, as I said before, that with a maximum score here, and he's got fastest lap of the race once again, that he should clear Tim Bennett in the total points scored. And as we said on drop scores, he's got a couple of one massive score to drop, which was second place at Brands Hatch, and then the 2 non-scores for the no-show at Cadwell Park. So he's going to be leading that quite comfortably. And remember, had a British Touring Car Championship test drive as his reward for winning last year. Harry Gooding in second goes across the line. Look at the battle on now for 4th place, side by side as they head down into Riches. Danny Harrison being challenged there for that position for 4th. Zachary Lucas here trying to close on Robert Stevens, the rookie up ahead at the moment. Now the red car, back of shot, is running second in Class D. The green car coming towards us is the leader indeed. So Zachary Lucas, second position in class again, and he's got to try and clear these STs in order to have a nibble at Jamie White. But to be fair to Jamie, he is away and down the road. It's Luke Bannister in third place in class at the moment in D. So the D's fairly well spread out. I suppose the C's are as well. There's a few more of them. But again, good that Jamie White's going to be picking up, by my reckoning, maximum points as there are the 6 cars on the grid this weekend. We have, incidentally, sadly, in addition to Miles Baker, lost John Cooper from this one, which is bad news, and a dent for John Cooper's championship campaign. That will be a 4th retirement of the year, so he's got no more scores that he can drop. So every point is going to count for John Cooper over the Castlecombe, Thruxton, Silverstone and Brands Hatch meetings that we have left. But interesting stuff here as we watch the second place Class D car busy chasing Robert Stevens. Robert here on for a top 10 finish to mirror what he did in race 3 at Rockingham, and in addition to that he's had 3 other top 10s this year. That's Richard Ashmole parked up, having had a problem, and that will need to be cleared, and that's on the exit of Murray's. So the last time we saw this man, Tom Hutchins, he was challenging on this point of the circuit Danny Harrison, who you can see is having a little bit of a struggle, Harrison, here. So Harrison lost out to Hutchins, who is now challenging Ryan Falconbridge, and this is for 3rd place. So it's Going and Gooding out front, Ryan Falconbridge in 3rd, and the man who's probably made the most progress through the race, Tom Hutchins. This has been a very good race for him, picking away showing very good pace indeed. Fastest laps incidentally still with Jamie Going and Jamie White, the respective headers of their classes. And Ryan Falconbridge comes into the hairpin with Tom Hutchins right behind him. Watch the runoff area, all keeping it fairly circumspect. And I've got to say that the chaser there was even more circumspect than the man that he's going after. So Ryan Falconbridge, by no means going over track limits, but the chaser, Tom Hutchins, was well inside the curb, but he's having pace, trying to close down at the moment on Ryan, who's on for potentially another podium, potentially first podium of the weekend. Ryan Falconbridge, having had 5th in race number 1, 4th in race 2, and currently 3rd position here after a win and podium at Rockingham last time out. So a driver that's really developing his skills. This is another championship which rewards drivers that stay with it. So here's the battle for 3rd coming into Brundle. Left-hander, they'll then turn to the right, grab the apex at Nelson, head through Bombhole, down in towards Corham again. Ryan Falconbridge, the Mansfield-based racer, looking pretty comfortable in that at the moment. And a huge gap between himself and Harry Gooding, which is getting on for 10 seconds at the moment, the gap between 2nd and 3rd. So Harry Gooding beat Jamie Going by just under a second in race number 1. Tom Hutchins closing up again, the Daniels Motorsport man beginning to close in, so along centre straight. And look what I was saying about sticking the pit board over the pit wall. They get so close to the pit wall here, almost mirroring what they do at Rockingham, but at Rockingham it's the outside wall going into turn 1. Hutchins getting very racy here and working the wheel, losing a little bit of momentum there. You can see as he started to get a bit crossed up, works the wheel, keeps it pointing in the right direction, but does lose a little bit of ground through the hairpin. You can see where the circuit peels off of the 200 circuit, a few hundred metres back down the road. This is the left-hander at Palmer. Quick shot of the leaders, around about a second between the pair again. So Going has reversed it, looking for career win number 3 to try and get back on equal terms with his young protege. Towards Hamilton, there's the race leader Gooding next up, and 3rd place probably the closest battle on track at the moment, but we'll have a look closer at that because we go on board with Tom Hutchins once again, looking for another podium. Took one in race 3 at Rockingham, and he's not been far away from the podium today. As we said, a 4th and 5th places so far, and these two guys fighting over the podium at the expense of Danny Harrison, who's just missed out a little bit at the moment. The South Benfleet youngster, 3 wins to his credit from the opening race of the year where he led the championship, but back on podium form this weekend. Here is Jamie Going, the race leader, looking very comfortable. Fastest lap again for Jamie Going on lap 6 of the race, getting his times down. 2 minutes 20 for him, actually a tad slower, as obviously the meeting takes its toll on tyres, car and driver, I suspect. But Going again has shown to be on superb form over the course of the weekend. The Jam Sport team boss. Jam Sport, of course, did have a little foray into Clio racing, probably most notably with Ant Wart-Neils racing for them. So pit boards go out, and look how close he gets. Very close indeed. That pit board, as they go on to the last lap, being held up relatively high. And look at the gap. 1st and 2nd have come through. Here's the scrap for 3rd. It's actually a 3-way dice now, because Danny Harrison is still, I reckon, in the mix here. He's in 5th place at the moment, but has not lost touch with Ryan Falconbridge in the black and blue 13, up ahead of Tom Hutchins, who is right behind him. So Hutchins putting the pressure on. Danny Harrison takes a nice wide sweep here. Harrison under no pressure from behind. He's going to have a look down the inside line. Hutchins has gone to the outside. Harrison using racecraft here to get his nose in front. Back into 4th place for Danny Harrison. Hutchins has got to fight on the inside line down into Palmer. He's got a little advantage here into the left-hander. Turns in. Keep your eyes peeled for Harrison onto the right of shot. Let's see how far Hutchins drifts out. He doesn't. He's because he's got Harrison looking up the inside line, flicks back to the outside. Ryan Falconbridge, this is probably good news for him, because the battle is now on for fourth. Little bit of contact there, inadvertent from Danny Harrison. Just a little love tap, really. Nothing too much to worry about. But Ryan Falconbridge looking now comfortable in third place for the moment. And Danny Harrison having a very good late run in this one. Not given up at all. He's going to have another look as they head into Oggies once again. Loses a bit of momentum. We'll see whether he can get things wound up as they come onto the Bentley straight through Williams. It's still going and Gooding out front. Falconbridge goes for a shot in third. Fourth place is Tom Hutchins, who, as we said, has done... there's so much to take away from this race in all of the lead drivers' performances. Jamie going for a super start, fending off Harry Gooding. Gooding's kept nailing away right the way through the meeting. Ryan Falconbridge getting up to third. Something going for a Burton there, either a piece of car or a floppy marker. This looks like it's done now. I thought Danny Harrison was going to be in with a shout. Maybe the early part of the lap was his best shot and maybe where the car was handling best for him. But here's Jamie going. He's going to make it 2 out of 3. A Jam Sport hat-trick this weekend. Through Murray's for the last time. And the man who'd only had one career win here in Fiestas and indeed here at Snetterton circuit before today has now got career win number 3. To the applause of the pit lane, it is a win for Jamie Going, Harry Gooding in second. Those guys, 10 seconds or maybe a tad more, clear of third place. Ryan Falconbridge, who's being closed up again now by Tom Hutchins as they come to the flag. Hutchins couldn't quite get close enough to challenge. So it's Hutchins in fourth, Danny Harrison in fifth, Jamie White comes through for sixth place to win Class D. Then Jake Dawson and David Nye. Richard Dawson ninth from Robert Stevens. Zachary Lucas second in Class D ahead of Luke Bannister and Tim Bennett, with Marco Ricci completing the race finishers.
Well, Jamie, I think that settles the bragging rights. 2 wins to the second place. You can go home with a very happy team boss, can't you?
Yeah, no, it was really good. Managed to get a really good start. Get a good gap. I could see they was all tangling up with themselves and managed to maintain the gap. There was quite a few times where I sort of settled down and I could see Harry was catching, and I really wanted to get fastest lap again because I've got the 2 fastest laps the other 2. So I think I got it on 7th or 8th, and yeah. So yeah, I was really happy with that, and to push and manage to get enough gap because he was really coming for me, you know. So I was just happy to get away and keep the gap right and then get the fastest lap. That just made the great weekend. So. And
I think with a weekend like this, it starts to put you in the hunt for the championship as well.
I think it works out, yeah, that Harry will be first and I'll be second, I think. So Maisie said so. Yeah, fingers crossed that we'll be able to carry on the rest of the season.
You're going to be bragging all the way to Castle Combe?
Yeah, I like Castle Combe as well. So I like it here. So fingers crossed we can do the same again. For a team it's great, we've got 1, 2, 3, so it's amazing really what we've achieved this weekend, so really happy.
Well, go and celebrate and we'll see you at Castle Combe. Well done.
Thank you.
So Harry, 2 second places in a win, again that really solidifies your championship lead, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Really good points for the championship, which is the main thing. Would like to have had the win in that one, but didn't quite have enough to catch him. It stayed the same for the road. We pulled away from the others quite a bit, but didn't quite have it in the car to catch him. Obviously in the same team, so it's all cars are identical. So, but yeah, good for the championship, which is the main thing. Pulling a good lead, so going to Castle Combe with high spirits. And you were pretty dominant there back in the juniors, so I'm sure you could be going for the same in the seniors. Well, yeah, if I can repeat what I did in 2016 there, it should be a very good weekend. Fingers crossed. Well done. Thank you. Ryan, good start for you, and managed to get ahead of Harry in the initial stage, but apart from that, it was all about just controlling the race from there, really, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, got a good start, got up to second by the first corner, really good off the line, and just tried to just eke away a little bit, but Harry's not a slow guy, hence why he's leading the championship, and he just reeled me in, and I tried to give him a little squeeze, but as teammates you've got to give him a bit of room as well, so credit to him, and he drove away, but no, really pleased with third podium of the season, and sets me in good stead as well for the rest of the championship going forward. You've had a good strong couple of weekends. You took a win in a couple of podiums at Rockham. You've been good here, so you seem to have found a good turn of pace recently. Yeah, that's it. It's started to get my head down, but think about it a bit more, and yeah, it's really proved dividends. And just want to say thank you to all my sponsors, TC Harrison, JCB, Guest Trucks and Vans, and Imperial Commercials, because they've helped me get here, and it's shown its worth now, hopefully. Well done. We'll see you at Combe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Turns out that Snetterton is also a Jam Sport circuit, as Jamie Going takes 2 wins and Harry Gooding takes the 3rd to cement his championship lead as the championship heads into the second half of the season. Next up is the deceptively daunting Castle Combe in Wiltshire. So will it be more of the same, or will somebody else hit the top step? Find out next time, but until then, bye for now.